go is a process, but how do we start? The million-dollar question.
It really is. It is, right?
Yeah.
It is, how do we start? Like, we are always letting go. We are always very subconsciously letting go of ideas and of people and of feelings and of just, information. And so, when it comes to letting go of love, or a relationship or things like that, we have to get really conscious about what it means to let go. And so often, because we're letting go all the time, it's just part of being alive. We're not really paying attention to how or what that process looks like. We're just moving through the motions of it. It's like our reticular activating systems we can only take in so much information. So we don't really notice the car commercials till we need to buy a car.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of the same with when we need to let go for love. Like, all of a sudden we're hyper alert to, oh my God, how do I do this? How do I start this process of letting go? And I think, starting the process of letting go is really about knowing what letting go means. And it's about knowing that it's something you're ready to do. Because if you're not ready to do it, you're not going to do it.
Yeah.
Like, you could have the easiest, clearest process in the world for doing anything, but if you're not ready to do it, you're not going to do it. It's the same reason why half of the packages that come to me from, free people sit in my bathroom, because I don't want to try them on and think about, sending them back and go through the whole process of like, am I keeping this? Am I leaving it? What am I doing? So I just leave it till I can't stand looking at it anymore. And then I know that I need to start letting go.
Now I'm ready.
I mean, that's a very simple, kind of a weird metaphor, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's not like you're going to put your significant other in the corner and be like, am I ready to let this person go? But there are cues that we can look for to tell us when it's time to let go. And then understand in the context of those cues, what does it really mean to do it? Does that make sense?
Yeah. And I was just like, before you started talking about being ready, I was like, but it doesn't work unless you're ready. Because I remember with me, I wasn't ready for years. I want, like, in my mind, the idea of letting go was great because then I could move on. But I was so terrified of that. I was so terrified of letting go, because if I let go, then I made it mean all these things, like that I would forget or that it didn't mean anything. And that's not what it meant at all,
Or that you'd be alone
and
unlovable and never find love again. Like, you would be the only one in the whole world that would, everybody else in the whole free world would have, a partner and love. And there we would be, right, without those things, because that's really the fear.
Yeah.
Is that, we don't want to go through life without love. Those are things that we want to have. And so, those are things that really can keep us stuck. But yeah, we have to be ready. We have to be fully ready. And so what does that look like to be ready?
Yes. Let's talk about that.
I mean, what it looks like to be ready is like looking at other people and other people's relationships and thinking, oh, I wish I had that. Or like looking at other things in life and thinking, I'm longing for that. I'm uncomfortable with what I have. Or maybe we're feeling it in our body, like we're feeling sick, or we're feeling stressed, or we're feeling new emotions. Things that maybe we've been avoiding that are starting to kind of come up, like the beach ball, that we hold down. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. Everything's okay. And all of a sudden it can manifest in other ways. It can manifest in illness. It can manifest in new stress. It can manifest in our looking at our partners in a different way, looking at ourselves in a different way. We can start having that really terrible talk track that I hate, that, we are at risk for, when we find that, because you know what, Talia, I think we know in our bodies, we know in our minds when something is not working. We know when it's time to move on. But all too often we stay because there are so many reasons, some of the things that I said before, but we know when it's time to move on. And
Yeah.
if we don't move on, that's when we start to berate ourselves, right? Why am I staying here? I'm not really happy, but I don't know how to move forward. And then we start having fights with our partner. And then we start thinking negatively about ourselves. And so all of these things, like, they're like little cues of dissatisfaction when we feel dissatisfied really anywhere inside of our relationship. But like, it could be a job, it could be a friendship, it could be inside of a situation that's making us uncomfortable. We tend to push those things away because what they're asking us to do is hard.
Yeah.
And uncomfortable. So we look away, we look away, we look away until we just can't look away anymore. And that's when we're ready. That's when we're ready to really let go in every sense of what that word means.